Weekend Warriors. We hope everyone had an incredible week, and we're back again for another episode of the Weekendology Podcast. We're the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to fuel your weekend conversations. I'm your host, William Deichley, alongside my co-host, Aaron Berg. Aaron, how are you going? How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Got more guests on the show.
Yeah, we got a great guest planned for you today. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Aaron, are you getting psyched for Turkey Day coming up?
I love Thanksgiving. Yeah. I know that's not one of your favorite holidays. But
I like Thanksgiving. It's not terrible.
Well, I mean, Halloween's up there for you, man.
Yeah.
I don't get that. No, Thanksgiving is definitely a second favorite holiday because it revolves around food. So
that's true.
That's the best.
I do love to eat. So
it's just eat as much as you can and then pass out on the couch, watch football. That's the greatest thing in the world.
It is a pretty good day. I'm pretty excited for that too. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for another episode of the Weekendology Podcast. If you're not familiar, if you're a new listener with us today, we talk about different topics each week as we delve into movies, music, media, sports, anything. And we challenge the status quo of things we would like to see changed or made better. So we've delved into the flaws of the American college system and its lack of real-world education. We've showcased music artists like Kaylee Wolf of Rivals and SoundCloud artist Chris Burkhardt of Bonus Points, and breaking into the music industry there. We've even able to interview Playboy model Allie Rose, where we took a look at her career at Instagram, modeling, and her 10-year-long career. So if you're new to the show, welcome aboard. You can always find us on Twitter at Weekendology Pod. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartMedia. You can find us, our email is weekendologypodcast@gmail.com. We're also part of a podcasting network called Big Red World. They're a cool podcasting network with a community of other podcasts like The House That Rick Built, that covers St. Louis University men's basketball, Red Sons of Cinema, which covers movie reviews. There's plenty of other shows over there, so go on and check them out. So, Aaron, I mentioned that we were able to sit down with Playboy model Allie Rose a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
there
that was a fun one.
Yeah, that was a great episode. If you haven't checked it out, go and take a download on Apple Podcasts. We talked about her decade-long career, how she kind of broke into the industry, how Instagram has changed the modeling industry. So today we're kind of continuing that conversation with a second part of it with a very special guest. Our guest today has rocked the social media landscape as a social media influencer, model, and aspiring DJ. She has over 150K followers on Twitter, 650K followers on Instagram. Everyone please welcome Tahlia Paris. Tahlia, how are you doing today?
Hey everyone, I'm doing so good and I'm so excited to be on the podcast.
We are excited to have you here. It's a pleasure to have you on today's episode. So Tahlia, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, you were kind of born and raised in Cali. What was it like growing up in Cali, and what was your first experience with modeling like?
So I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, California, which is kind of a small town. It's super beachy. It's beautiful. I was born and raised there, and I loved it. And my mom had me into modeling and pageants when I was super young. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old when I started doing everything. So she had me signed up. And the second I turned 18, I decided to go more of the mature route, and I started doing like lingerie and more Playboy and things like that. So I've just been modeling my whole life and also going to school.
So you said your mom got you into that at a young age. What was that like when you were 5? I mean, was that something you just did it because your mom said to do it, or did you grow into it and kind of like it as you got older?
I've always loved it, honestly. I've always loved modeling and pageants too. I loved like the glam part about it. Like the best thing was going and getting my hair and my makeup done and the pictures. And honestly, I've always kind of loved like performing in front of crowds. So I've especially loved like pageants and stuff like that. Just being on stage in front of, hundreds of people. I used to love that. And it was just a really good career, honestly, especially like the whole modeling part. I did a lot for like Old Navy kids when I was younger. I did a few commercials. I think I did one for like DirecTV. And honestly, it was just like super glamorous, like the way that they treated me. It was amazing. They had meals, and again, my hair and makeup was done, and it was just super glamorous. And I've just always loved it. But yeah, my mom definitely, she pushed it, but I was okay with it. So I'm glad that she did.
Wow. So you kind of jumped out of the gates and kind of stuck that momentum going forward then. Did you know that modeling was what you wanted to do with your life, after that, after you got into it at 5 or 6 years old?
I've always kind of known that modeling would be something that I would always have as kind of like not like a backup, but just something that I will always do. But I'm going to nursing school and everything, so that's kind of like my number one priority. And modeling is kind of like a secondary thing that I love, and it's kind of like a hobby in a sense. And I'm also able to make money off of it. But to me, like school has always been like I've always also wanted to be a nurse. So it's kind of I've been like juggling the two.
Where do you go to school?
Right now, I'm just going to a city college, and I'm finishing my prerequisites. And pretty soon, I'm going to start going to like an actual nursing program, which I'm a little bit nervous for because it's 15 months and it's straight through. So I wouldn't be able to travel and do as much of my modeling and stuff like that anymore. So I'm just trying to hold it off a little bit as long as possible. But
so, do you think modeling's something you're going to keep doing on the side, even when nursing starts up and you get into that career, or are you going to just totally transition and just focus on nursing later on?
Honestly, once I'm done with nursing school, I'll definitely still do my modeling stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm sure like sometimes I'll even, I'll be able to experience and even like make more money with doing the modeling stuff. Just nursing just kind of like something that I'll have just for like when I'm older, I guess you could say.
The day job.
Because I won't be able to do like the modeling. Yeah, like I won't be able to do the modeling and stuff for the rest of my life, obviously. So it'll be nice to kind of have like my nursing as, like once I'm done with everything.
Yeah, I think you've struck a nice balance between, the whole media side of the modeling and then looking into doing the nursing as well. We talked last episode with Allie about, people kind of throwing all their eggs in one basket and not really kind of having a backup plan or having like a side project that they're doing to help them make money because, you're not going to be able to do modeling forever or you're not going to be able to do acting forever or whatever it is. So you got to have kind of the diversified skill set. So you're on the right track with that, and I think that's a trend nowadays. Is people are finally realizing that and doing that. They're not just sticking with the media and the modeling career. They're going for their other passions as well.
Yeah, is that something?
No.
Are you told to do that when you're, I guess, in the agency or in modeling? Is someone telling you that? Because I just that's interesting how Allie said kind of the same thing. Or is that something you just know going into that industry of, I need a backup plan, this isn't going to last forever? Because I find it so interesting. You see it with, I brought this up, the episode with Allie, with athletes. A lot of them don't have that plan B, and they just put everything they have into their sport, and then they get to 35, 36, and they're like, okay, well, what do I do now? As if no one told them. I mean, is someone in your ear saying, hey, have this backup plan, we don't want this happening to you later in life? Or was that just your common sense kicking in?
That was honestly just my common sense, and also the help from my mom. She kind of also told me, like, look, I know you love modeling, but I hate to say it, you're not going to be young forever, so it's important for you to have some kind of, something else for you to go for. And it's funny because now that I do talk to people and I'm like, oh, I model, I do Playboy, whatever, they're always super surprised when I say that I'm also going to school, but I will explain to them, I'm like, it's not going to last forever, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you're so right. So it's important because I do know like a lot of women who have gotten older in the modeling industry and Playboy and stuff like that. And, they've definitely not been able to succeed in like later life because it's like their time is kind of up in a sense. And then by that time, you're already 35 years old. Like you don't want to go to school anymore. Like you don't. So it's kind of like you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people kind of just put it off. They're like, oh, I'm going to focus on this, one thing at a time. Well, really the smart thing is to do both at the same time. That way it's an easy transition into that other career when you transition out of that modeling gig as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Tahlia, let's talk to me about, your Playboy career so far. How did you get involved with Playboy and what was the first, the experience like when you first started modeling for them?
So it's funny. When I was younger and my mom used to watch The Girls Next Door. That was on TV, and I loved it. I was obsessed, and I always kind of told her, I'm like, I really want to be one of those blonde girls. And she kind of told me, she's like, like when you're older, if that's something that you still want to pursue, like I'll 100% support you, whatever. And as time got on, I was still super, in love with Playboy and still kind of like followed them and was involved. And I think the day I turned 18, I literally submitted pictures to like an online, like email or something that I had found. And I didn't even know if it was like legitimate or not, but I did it anyways. And sure enough, I think it kind of took a while. It took like a few months, but I ended up getting like an email back saying that, like I had my first casting call. And so it was amazing. I was still living in Santa Barbara, and I got to go to like the Playboy offices, and I had like a real casting call. And it was like the most amazing experience. And then soon after that, I got a phone call saying, you got to shoot. And after that, it just really like took off. And I think like before I did Playboy or anything, I had maybe like 8,000 Instagram followers, which is, you know, a decent amount for an 18-year-old who really had no real modeling experience and stuff like that. And the second that Playboy took off, I slowly started growing in numbers. And yeah, ever since then, it's just been an amazing ride.
That's incredible. Do you think that Playboy is still kind of the pinnacle of the modeling magazines, especially in today's day and age of social media and online publishers? Do you think it's still the epitome of that, you know, that far-reaching plateau of getting into the modeling area?
You know, I think Playboy will always be this iconic and amazing like symbol and everything. But I think that magazines are dying out, so everything's online now. But yeah, I mean, I think Playboy will always be amazing for what it is, and it will always be like, you know, not number one, but I think like it'll definitely be like a backbone and an important thing. But I think as time goes on, we might even see like a change and definitely more like, you know, digital magazines and maybe even like a different one or something. So I'm curious to see what happens. But it's definitely been changing since even I was 18 years old, which wasn't even that long ago.
No, that's amazing how quick. I mean, the industry shifted, and it's just constant change and constant. You have to keep updated with it, otherwise you'll fall by the wayside.
I mean, there's so many competitors with it too. I mean, there's Maxim. I mean, GQ is
Sports Illustrated.
Into that. Sports Illustrated. I mean, ESPN was doing stuff like that too as well. And you know, there's so many different types of publishers out there. And you're right, Tahlia. You know, the digital world is all encompassing now, and I think we're going to see a whole lot more of those kind of pop up and keep going. So there's a lot of competition out there with it.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you know, you won Cyber Girl of the Month, and then after that Cyber Girl of the Year for Playboy? How would you attribute that to your success? I mean, did that really set you apart and really kind of springboard your career to keep it going as the magazine kind of, you know, started to just lessen in popularity? Do you think that really kept you on the top, or how would you attribute that to your career?
Definitely, because so when I first started doing Playboy, I was 18 years old, so it was about 5 years ago, and this was when Playboy was still like decently, you know, doing very well. And even though I was Cyber Girl of the Month, which means I worked for something called PlayboyPlus.com, so rather than the magazine, all of my photo sets and everything was online. But no, I mean, I definitely think that, you know, things have changed since. So I don't know. I mean, I just it's definitely. It's a big, you know, difference. So,
well, that probably helped you out. You know, you're just ahead of the curve, you know, getting on with Playboy Plus kind of before the online scene really blew up and took over the magazine side. You kind of had the best of both worlds. So I think that probably
definitely
was a huge difference.
Yeah. And I would say since then that, you know, that it's been even dying out a little bit more. So things have definitely changed, even from the time that I just did my first photo shoot to Cyber Girl of the Month to Cyber Girl of the Year, because even through my Cyber Girl of the Year, I think they ended up getting new owners, and you know, they made a couple of different changes and stuff like that. So it's definitely been changing over the years,
and that's 2 years.
And a big difference.
Yeah,
I mean, I was 2017 when you won that.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
So
yeah, it was a while ago, really.
With so much change kind of in the landscape in the industry of modeling with social media and your massive presence on Instagram and Twitter, you know, what's your opinion on, you know, the current modeling landscape with models being able to freelance and use social media or kind of easier barrier of entry?
I think it's great. I think that Instagram and Facebook and everything is a great way for people to be able to model and everything. I know like a few years ago, like there was this whole thing like, oh, like you're an Instagram model and it's a joke. And I honestly don't agree with that. I think that there's many beautiful women, and just because they're not in Playboy or GQ or, you know, any of those super big magazines or anything doesn't mean that they're not a model in their own sense. I mean, there's a lot of models. I think like Abigail Ratchford, like she's a huge model, and I don't think like she's really been published in anything. I mean, or that's not true. Maybe she's in like Playboy and stuff like that. But before she even did Playboy, like she was a decent, you know, Instagram model, and she'll always be this beautiful, iconic, you know, Instagram model, I guess you could say. So I don't think that it's necessarily important for people to have like a title or, you know, like that they've worked for so-and-so magazine or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with everyone having the social media accounts, there's so much competitiveness though. I mean, you know, how has the competitiveness changed since social media was impacted? And then, you know, how have you had to kind of adapt your career to stay popular and, you know, keep your momentum going?
I would say it's changed in the sense that I'm definitely, I'm on Instagram a lot and I'm having to like things and I'm having to comment and I'm having to post. I mean, I've noticed that I get like the most feedback and the most followers and the most views on my profile. Like if I post a picture every single day. So like just being active on social media is so important. And just staying like relevant and getting new pictures out. And it's honestly like a full-time job in itself. It's social media. So it's like a whole nother world.
Yeah, tell me about it. I run the social accounts for our podcast, and even though we only do it
half runs it.
Sorry,
credit here.
It's a lot of work though. You got to put a lot of time and effort into it, and coming up with content, coming up with postings. Making sure all the branding's correct. And
I'm trying to get creative because you'll look at something, you're like, why? It's amazing. We did the Allie Rose podcast, the episode, and we put her picture up there. It got 96 likes, and then we have another episode, we're like, oh, this is great. We have a creative tweet with it that got like 3 likes. You're like, oh, what do I have to do?
And then it's just, it depends on the time of day. You got to do it on a Wednesday afternoon as opposed to Tuesday morning. I don't know. It's crazy too.
What's that been like with just the fan interaction? Because I find that so fascinating. Where before with the magazine, you're in the magazine, people know who you are, but you're kind of behind that wall. Because they see you in print and or maybe even online, and even 5, 6, 7 years ago they might be able to message you online somehow or like on a chat board or something like that on the website. But now it's right there, it's going to your phone, you're seeing it directly. I mean, do you like that interaction? Because I could imagine sometimes it gets kind of weird with some of the followers you have. So what's that been like, and is that something you like about nowadays?
I love being able to interact with my fans. However, it is honestly like that is like another full-time job, honestly. Like I used to run a Snapchat account and I would tell my fans like, look, like if you guys like add me, like I'm going to like respond to you guys no matter what. But that, is just so incredibly hard because there's just so many of them and I don't have enough time in the day to talk to them. So I do try as much as possible. Like if I get like a very nice message or or if someone subscribes to like my website or anything like that, I'll try as much as possible to say thank you so much, like for your love and support. But I do think that it is like a really good opportunity to be able to, reach out to your fans. And I think that they're able to appreciate you more in that sense. It's like you're a human too. And, so I think it's cool, but it's definitely, it's hard to be able to respond to everyone for sure. And then you of course get, the internet trolls who are very mean.
Yeah, we've experienced a couple of those as well. And I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head there with you're the only person, managing or, kind of building up your own brand as well. And we talked about a lot about the positives of social media, easier barriers of entries, but, what do you, in your experience, have seen kind of some of the negatives with it that come along with social media and kind of running your own account or, modeling that way?
Some of the negatives I would definitely say would be the trolls. I remember when I first started working for Playboy and they would post my photo sets online, I used to read the comments. And of course, most of them are very nice, like some of the nicest things I've ever seen written about myself, but then some of them are also very mean. And so it's very discouraging in a sense. So that kind of, hurt me in the beginning. So after that, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to read the comments anymore because even though like most of them are nice, like there are a few of those like super mean ones. Like I remember like when I won several of the year, like there was like a couple people who were like, oh, like she shouldn't have won. And I'm like, okay, like, and she didn't work for it and, things like that. And I'm like, okay, like that's kind of lame. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then the other thing is just, I would say is that, there's just not enough time in the day. So I can't respond to everyone. And so I feel kind of bad. But overall, I would say it's a good thing being able to communicate with my fans and everything.
Yeah, you've, essentially spent your whole life being judged, being watched, people looking at you and having an opinion, and you have to listen to it some way or somehow, whether that's going all the way back to beauty pageants or going to commercials or going to modeling. How do you handle that mentally? And is that something that you have gotten practice with all your life, or is that something that it's been a roller coaster and you've really had to work on that as the years go on?
I think just throughout my whole life, I've always been one to kind of like keep to myself. And I just try not to pay attention to the things that are going on around me unless they are like really involving me. So like if someone's like, if I'm sitting there and someone's talking behind my back, I'll kind of just like block it out. I'm like, whatever, like if they're going to talk or whatever, like it doesn't really concern me. Like unless it's like really brought to my attention, then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, like that's, not cool. But I think just learning to like cope with it and just let people, like, they're going to say what they, want no matter what. And no one, like, not everyone's going to love you. So there's always going to be people who, thought I shouldn't have won or thought I should have won. And, like, no matter what, they're going to like my body. They're not going to like my body. Like, everyone has a different type. And so I just think, like, just knowing that, like, some people, like, not everyone's going to love you. And I've just kind of learned that throughout the years. And so definitely just like knowing and, like waiting.
Yeah, I think that's a great mindset to have going into it, especially with being such a big public figure and you have hundreds of thousands of followers on social and just going into it saying, okay, yeah, not everybody's going to enjoy my content. Not everybody's going to enjoy me as a person. That's okay, but also not letting those people bring you down and influence your content or influence your mood and, force yourself to change, because of them as well.
Exactly.
When I feel like modeling, it's so much, it's what you want to do, how you want to make it, how you want to almost, advertise yourself essentially. So I think once you get away from that, if you're listening to what other people like, you're always going to have someone criticize. You're always going to have someone with an opinion. And at the end of the day, yours is the only one that matters. And if you don't think that, then I think you're going to get away from the art and get away from what makes models great, I think, is because they go with, no, this is, I trust myself. I know what's best for me, and you go with it. So I think that's a good mindset.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like you have to do what you love, and you have to stick by that. And if it's something that you enjoy, then more power to you. Forget everybody else, all the haters, all the trolls. You don't need to worry about them. Tahlia, how have you stayed relevant in your modeling career as you've gotten older and as you progress through? What kind of adaptations have you had to make? From start to where you are now?
I would say that the biggest thing is networking, 1,000%. I'm very shy, so it's hard for me to go out and talk to people and be out there. But I would definitely say just staying relevant, just working with other people and opening your horizons and meeting people and, working with other models and photographers who have more followers. And then you're able to kind of collaborate in a sense. And so that they get followers from me, I get followers from them. And just, staying relevant with the trends and everything like that.
Yeah. Who have you gotten to meet so far? I mean, do you have any names that, was like, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to this person besides us, obviously. I mean, I know.
Yeah.
But was there anyone you were kind of starstruck and you thought, wow, my career has taken me this far where I am talking to, this person?
I've definitely been to like a lot of parties, like Maxim parties and, Halloween and all those really big events and Babes in Toyland.
Oh, we need stories after you answer this. We need stories. So just remember that.
Okay. No, I've definitely met a lot of celebrities, but I'm kind of one of those people. I'm very oblivious. So I'll even like run into like a famous person. I won't even know who they are. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was whoever, Chris Brown or whatever. And also, like, even if I do know, I'm like, oh, like, that's, like, Chris Brown. Like, I think it's cool, but I'm not going to be like, oh, my gosh, like, I need to go take a picture with him. Like, this is, like, amazing. Like, I'm like, oh, like, okay, like, whatever, Yeah, so I'm just kind of, like, nonchalant about it.
Yeah. Do you have any, celebrities or anything, growing up or watching where you're like, well, I have to, if I ever meet this person, I have to get a photo or, you're going to be like, I have to go and meet them?
I don't really have anyone like that. I mean, I would say the biggest person I look up to who I think would be kind of cool if I saw her in person would be like Kim Kardashian, because I think she's beautiful and amazing. And I would just love to look at her in person because I've only seen pictures. Mm-hmm. So I would just love to see her in person, but I don't think I would ask her for a picture or anything because I know that they get like annoyed with like, like the paparazzis and the fans and stuff. So I would just keep my distance, but I would love to see her in person. That would be amazing.
I think if Kim Kardashian walked in right now, I'd be like, "Holy crap! Let's get a photo." I don't know. I don't think I could resist. Hold back as much as you could, Tahlia. So that's great. So you're on this amazing career path. I mean, you started modeling so young, and now you're blowing up so quickly with your career. What would you kind of give as for advice for other aspiring models or for other people who can follow and, model after, so to speak?
I would just say, collaborating with people, like I said earlier, it's so important to collaborate and to talk to people and to meet people and to get out there. And I know it's hard because, trust me, I'm super shy myself. And, just working with different people and if you can, like, be a little bit different because some people like stuff like that. Some people are, not like I said, like not everyone has a certain, like a certain want or a certain need. And so everything's different. And yeah, just to see, just go with the flow and work with as much people as you can and just see what happens, honestly. And over time, everything will build the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, mentioning that, you need to be different, especially nowadays because social media is so prevalent. Everyone can, find a different model everywhere you look on all these different social media accounts and sites still magazines. How do you set yourself apart? Like, what are you doing different? I mean, you're only 23 and you're already, top model up there. I mean, what are you doing that other models should look to and say, okay, maybe I need to try to do that? Like, how do you set yourself apart?
Like, I would say that like my thing is I'm kind of like the playmate girl next door, like very sweet, but also very sexy in a sense. Cause I'm blonde hair, green eyes. I'm from California, born and raised here. But at the same time, like, I've modeled for Playboy. So I've done some naked stuff. And definitely just kind of like cutesy, but sexy. And just setting myself apart from other models who, aren't like that.
Yeah, that's good. You're diversifying, who you are, and you're authentic to who you are too. You're not sacrificing who you are just to be, somebody or to get views or follows or whatever it is as well. And you're more than just a model too. You're part of a band now. You're being a DJ, an LTE. So talk to us a little bit about what that is as well. What's your style of music and how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, so it's funny. So one of my girlfriends, she's been DJing for the last 3 years. And one day I just come up with this idea. I'm like, you know what? Like, first of all, there's not very many female DJs. And I'm like, and there's actually no female trio DJ. So 3 females DJing together. So I was like, you know what? And I told my girlfriend, I'm like, why don't you teach me and our other girlfriend so the 3 of us can DJ together? And I was like, let's do it. Like, let's be different. Let's, ruin the male stigmatism of DJing and see what happens. And as of now, we're kind of like open format. We do love like EDM and, of course, like the party music and house music and all that stuff like that. But we're just kind of going with the flow and going to see like what genre kind of suits us best as time goes on. We're still pretty new. We just started maybe like 5-6 months ago. So we're just kind of seeing what happens.
Is that something you've always been a fan of, like EDM music, or was that pretty recent? You thought, I can give this a shot and it's pretty popular right now, or has that been just a passion of yours, music?
I've honestly always been passionate about music my whole life. I'm one of those people who I love all genres of music. Like I love hip hop, I love rap, I love country, I love everything. And growing up, I was a dancer. So I've always kind of, worked with beats and I've loved dancing and just working with music. So I think the DJing also kind of played a part in that sense.
So what have you learned, I guess, from start to where you are now with the DJing and kind of how to creating the music? What's been the kind of the biggest learning curve for you?
I think that the biggest learning curve would just be to take time, and it doesn't just come in one day. It kind of takes, I've had to like pay a trainer, like someone to teach me how to work the actual thing itself. And then not only that, but just working on it myself and just taking time. And it's also more difficult DJing with 2 other girls because, usually like it's one DJ, so you have the whole deck to yourself. And so, figuring out how to work in 2 other girls and kind of get out of the way while they're doing their thing and, working it out. And so like maybe I do 2 or 3 songs and then she does 2 or 3 songs and then the last girl does 2 or 3 songs and then we switch again. So it's just kind of figuring out all the kinks and, making it work.
Is this something you want to start touring and then make it pretty big, or is this just kind of a side project for you, just something to do for fun with your friends?
As of now, it's kind of like a side project, although I would like it to turn into something big. I don't know if I could live like the full-on DJ lifestyle because I know it's very demanding and a lot of traveling and late nights and stuff like that. But I mean, I do think it would be something like amazing if I could get, a couple shows a month or something like that. So
are you touring?
We'll just see what happens, I guess.
Are you touring right now at all or doing any shows?
No, as of now, we've just done one in Mexico and one in Jamaica. And then we've played like a few like little gigs and stuff in Los Angeles and Vegas, of course, too. But yeah, so we're just kind of like really getting our foot out the door because we just finished like, kind of practically like our resume and stuff like that. So once we start sending out to clubs and everything, I'm kind of hoping that, things will start to pick up. So we'll see what happens. But as of now, it's honestly just something like fun that I love to do with my girlfriends. And I think that it'll turn into something big. So we'll see.
All right. So you're on like all of the platforms for all your music then. Where can they find your music at?
Yeah, the best place I would say would be SoundCloud. That's where we have we have mixes and stuff on there right now. And then eventually we're going to be on YouTube and all that. And then we actually just started to learn how to produce. So hopefully we'll be on like iTunes with like our own singles and stuff like that. So
perfect.
That just all comes with time.
We just interviewed a SoundCloud artist in our last episode. His name is Chris Burkhart. His SoundCloud handle is Bonus Points. He's very much kind of like a mix between EDM and jazzy and kind of more chill lo-fi type of music as well. We talked to him about SoundCloud, how it's changed the music scene for aspiring artists. Tahlia, in your opinion, how has SoundCloud shaped the music scene and the landscape in your opinion?
It's funny because I've always loved SoundCloud, and one of my girlfriends, one of the DJ girls, had no idea what it even was. And even in high school and stuff, I'd always listened to it. Like, it's kind of like, it's just an amazing place for people to go and kind of put really like whatever they want on, so it's cool. So I was able to find like really awesome remixes and stuff that you wouldn't even find on YouTube or anything. So I think it's really shaped the music world in the sense that like you can kind of like play around, and it's like, I mean, there's obviously rules and stuff like that, like, copyrights, but I mean, I think it's like a great way for, beginners to get their, music out there and the word about them.
Is there anyone you want to tour with, or you kind of got your sights set on to pair up with eventually?
No one specifically. I mean, I do, love like the really big DJs, of course, like Martin Garrix and the Chainsmokers and all them and everything. But I mean, honestly, working with any DJ would be amazing. I think small baby steps and work our way up to the top.
They're the best to see in Vegas. I saw both those guys Chainsmokers I've seen a couple times, and I saw Martin Garrix in Vegas at Omnia. Oh, that is incredible. We're in Dallas, so like we get to go to some pretty cool shows, but Vegas, there's nothing like it when you see at an EDM show there.
Sure, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Vegas is the pinnacle of entertainment.
Vegas is Vegas.
So, yeah, you can make it there. So Tahlia, you mentioned that you have two other, DJs in your group. Who are they, and how did you come about to getting to know them and starting the DJ band, I guess?
So both of the girls I've actually known since I was younger. One I've known since I was in junior high, so I was like 12 years old, and then one I met in high school when I was about 14 or 15. So we all are from Santa Barbara, and we all moved down to LA, not together necessarily. We all kind of, trickled in one by one, but we all ended up here, and we all have remained friends since. And we're all kind of into music in our own little sense. Like I said, like the one girl, her name's Emily. She's been a DJ for a few years. So she's the one who really helped me, and the other girl out whose name is Elle. She's also been in music. Like she was a cheerleader, and she's always been interested in DJing and stuff like that. So yeah, we all have like our own little kind of like specialty, and we're all kind of different in our own sense, but they've been my girlfriends for years. That's
incredible. Yeah. Aaron and I have been friends for going on 10 years now. We met in college, and then kind of just, started the podcast, a few years later, and here we are. So I think those are some of the best relationships, and
makes it
great.
More fun.
Yeah, makes it more fun.
That way, you can be creative together and work together, share ideas together. But you always have that friendship bringing you back together, and that way it's not just business. It's not, especially with music, but podcasting too. That way it's not just sitting there and being so serious about it. I feel like it's even better with friends, because that way your creativity really comes out, and you're not afraid to share your honest thoughts and opinions, and you can just go and do it. And okay, the other person's not going to judge me for having this opinion or saying this or trying this. You're not concerned about someone controlling you or that sort of thing. So
you're more relaxed.
Yeah, you got a good situation there. And like you said, it's more of a hobby, and that way if it does get bigger, it still can feel like a hobby. It's not so much, this is a job and this is how I have to do it. And it's not so corporate, And I feel like now, especially with the music landscape, it can't be, if you make it corporate, like we said with modeling too, if you get too serious about it, or you try to do what, people want you to do, other people are going to notice, your fans are going to notice, it's not going to be as good. Whereas like what you're doing, both with modeling and with music, we can tell as fans, with both those fronts that you're passionate about it and you just want to do what you want to do and hope people like it. So I think that's great. What is one thing, going back to modeling though, what's one thing that you wish people would know about your life as a model and just the career in general? What are some misconceptions and what do you wish the fans knew about you that they probably don't?
I would say the biggest thing is that I'm super down to earth. A lot of people think I'm like stuck up and I'm like super into myself and I'm only out for myself, but I'm definitely like, for me, like family's number one. I love hard. And I wouldn't say like I'm like the stigma that, people would think like models are. And also like the way like I guess I present myself on my Instagram is super sexy, but in person I'm actually like pretty shy. So it's definitely, different than like, there's definitely been several people who they've, known me on Instagram and I've met them in person and they're like, wait a second, like you're a little bit different than I would expect you to be, by looking at your Instagram, which is kind of annoying in a sense, but, at the same time, like I get it. And I'm just definitely like, I guess personality wise, a little bit different.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When I reached out to you, Will did not believe. I didn't believe it when I didn't believe
that he actually got.
He was like, "You're lying. That's a fake email. That's not really."
Sorry, I ever doubted you, Tahlia.
No, that's really cool because and I think that's just a natural thing. You see, and this happens, I think, with any form of entertainment. You see an athlete or you see a model or you see a musician, you think, oh, they think like this, they act like this, because you might have seen one or two people act a certain way, so you just lump them all in. And so no, I think that's great that you're breaking that stereotype and you're not acting like, oh, I'm too good for you or I'm way up here and these other people don't matter. I think that's good for the industry as a whole, that people can see that and like you said earlier in the show, that you're human, and these other celebrities too are human and they're just trying to go about their day doing their job.
Yeah, and I think
exactly.
Just talking with you, Tahlia, now, I mean, you seem very authentic. You seem, like you said, very down to earth, and you're not kind of just like, oh, I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the best model ever. You're intelligent. You're able to do other things too. I mean, you're a nursing student. You're a model. You're a DJ. So you're diversified, and your talents is there. What's been some of the things that people should know maybe about the modeling industry that someone outside might not know, kind of like on the outside looking in?
I mean, I would just say that honestly, most of the models that I've met, like they will post these, Instagram pictures, videos, and they do seem stuck up and sexy and, a certain way. And then you meet them in person, they're totally goofy and dorky and just different. Like me, for example. So, I mean, I would just say to, not totally stereotype everyone.
I think that's a good thing to do, especially since Instagram and social media is kind of very superficial in the sense that, you can put on a persona for your identity online, and then you're completely different offline as well. And kind of melding those two together or giving the people what's popular, but also being true to yourself. I think that's a tough challenge to kind of come meet in the middle for as well. What are some things that you maybe would like to see changed in the industry going forward?
Some things changed. I mean, I guess just like the hatred, but I mean, with that, it's kind of hard to do that. There's always going to be people who don't like what you're doing in a sense. So, but I mean, I do think it's gotten better over the years, with like the whole, non-bullying campaigns and stuff like that. Cause it's hurt a lot of, especially like children in junior high and high school and stuff like that. And also just like the body types that are just nearly impossible. I'm kind of glad that's kind of something of the past now. Like nowadays, it's kind of like the healthier, thicker looking women are in style. And so I think it's just overall, having us be like a healthier nation in a sense. And we're not all trying to be these 60-pound, 6 feet tall models. It's just everyone can kind of be different in their own way.
Yeah, look what Ashley Graham has done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
I think she's the one who kind of set the stage of, okay, the first, that size of model, and now everybody's taking notice, and it's giving younger women or even younger men or people trying to break into the industry. It's not an unrealistic expectation to have the best looking body or the best looking physique. You can do it. As long as you're authentic and you're creating great content, then that's the only thing that matters. And I think that's a great type of campaign and a great shift in the industry that it's taken as well.
Well, I think too, people learned how to use social media because I think you saw so much crazy stuff 2011, 2012, kind of when it started to blow up.
Yeah.
And people didn't know how to use it. They were like, oh, wait, I can message Tahlia Paris just whenever I want, or I can message Kim Kardashian whenever I want, and say whatever I want to them and they'll see it. And it got to people's heads. And I don't think it really broke through that. Oh, wait, I am actually messaging them. They are reading this.
Yeah.
Like it's a direct contact to them. And now people are finally realizing, oh, wait, I'm actually talking to this person. It's a human being. So I think social media, while, it gets criticized for being quote unquote fake and whatever you want to call it, it has brought to light that celebrities are humans. They're people.
Yeah.
They're humans just like us. Like I said before, they're just trying to do a job,
Yeah, it's molded into these people are, actual human beings, and people are a little bit more discretionate about what they say nowadays because, one, they have hundreds of thousands of followers as well, but also these tweets or these thoughts are available for everybody to see. And so,
and
social media
it's come back to haunt people enough times. Now they're like, whoa, I got to watch what I'm saying to people.
Look at what James Gunn did. He had a couple, bad tweets 10, 11 years ago when Twitter first came out, and then they had a little firing thing with Disney, and then he came back and all that kind of stuff, and it was tweets that he did 10 years ago.
I always love when the Larry Nance Jr. story, when he was in high school and he's tweeting at Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he said he's gay or something stupid. And then he got drafted by the Lakers, and the first day of practice he showed up, and Kobe, the psycho he is. He remembered that from years later. He's like, hey, man, I'm your teammate now. What do you got to say about that? And he made him apologize. That was the best.
So, Tahlia, what's next in your career? Do you have any cool projects coming up that you can talk about? And where do you see modeling, kind of going forward after this year?
I would say the next biggest thing that I have coming out is I have a merch line coming out. So I have T-shirts, phone cases. I'm even thinking about doing like lighters, posters, things like that. I've been getting a lot of people asking lately, like, where can I get a poster of you, a signed autograph, anything like that. So I would say that's kind of like my next biggest thing that I have dropping. And so I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Is that on your website, or is that going to be a company that you're starting?
So I'm working with a company, they're called Inside the Drop, and they are handling everything for me. So we have the photo shoot coming up, I believe, next week. And then we're hoping to get everything out so we can do orders for Christmas and everything. But I'll even do like a meet and greet, and I'll do some signings of things and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for that.
That's exciting. I love the merch drops. I'm very excited for that to come out. Do you have any cool shoots coming up, or maybe any new shows that you're playing with your band on the horizon?
As of now, I don't have anything super big scheduled for me in the modeling industry. Everything is so last minute, honestly. So when I get a job, it's usually a week or two in advance. If even, honestly, sometimes I'll even get, on Monday, I'll be like, hey, can I shoot you on Friday? Or can you be in New York by Saturday? Or, so everything's usually super last minute. But I'm just still doing all my little stuff that I always do. And like my website and all that good stuff. But nothing super big planned as of now.
Yeah. What's your schedule like? I mean, you have so much on your plate with modeling and just, I guess, as a model, what's your schedule like, your day to day? And I know that's probably a crazy question because I'm sure there's no real day to day, but take us through, if you could, just a general, what's the travel like? What is a day in a life of a model?
Well, the normal, when I'm like home in LA, I work out a lot. I have a personal trainer, so I'm obsessed. I go probably at least 5, 6 times a week. And so I do that. I do a lot of hiking. I love hot yoga. I have a dog, so I'll take him on walks. I always try to do as much as possible with him. And also just schoolwork. And just kind of like, honestly, I don't really go out much. I'm kind of a homebody. Like when I'm home in LA, I like to just be home. But when I'm out on the road traveling and stuff like that, things are definitely a little bit different. Things get hectic and it's hard for me to work out and stuff like that. But yeah, every day is honestly different for me, which is a little bit hard because I am kind of someone who likes to be in a routine of things. And the way that I live my life is just kind of impossible, honestly, because I travel to different places all the time and every day is kind of different.
Yeah, I think you have to go into it thinking, okay, today could be, a really slow day, but also I have to expect, might get that call and be like, I got to be in New York by Saturday, like you said, or, I got to be in Southern California, by the afternoon or something. So I'm sure it's pretty hectic for you, but I'm sure you love it though, because you're you're a star, I think.
Yeah, no, I do love it. I love what I do, honestly, and the fans and everything are what keeps me going for sure.
Well, perfect then. Well, thanks, Tahlia, so much for being on an episode of Weekendology Podcast. If you like listening to Tahlia talk about her career as a model and a DJ, check out some of her work. She can be found on Twitter at Tahlia Paris. She's on Instagram at Tahlia Paris. Tahlia, where else can they find you?
I also have a website that's TahliaParis.com, and Snapchat is also Tahlia Paris. It's all kind of the same.
Perfect. Makes it easy for everybody. Yeah, definitely check out the website as well. You can get an exclusive look at photos, videos, blog posts, kind of get the inside track on some upcoming projects that Tahlia has. So definitely head on over there.
All right, I'm not letting her get out with this one, though.
Okay.
You got to tell us a story about the Midsummer Night's Party.
Your
best story.
Yeah, best story.
The fans want to know.
So the Midsummer Night was actually like the very first thing I ever did for Playboy. So when I ended up getting my first shoot for Playboy, I had just turned 19. So I did the Midsummer Night Dream when I was my 18-year-old. I was 18 and it was my summer. And so I had just graduated from high school, obviously. I was 18 years old. I had dreamed of working with Playboy, and I had gotten this amazing deal to be a body paint model with Mark Frazier, who's amazing. I mean, he's taped all of the big Playmates. He's taped, Crystal Hefner, who's Hugh's wife, Kendra Wilkinson, like all of the three Playmates from The Girls Next Door. So anyways, I got to work with him, and it was the most amazing experience. I got to go to the mansion for the first time, and I mean, I met the most amazing celebrities. They had like the best food, drinks. It was so beautiful. Definitely, like, honestly, like the best party that I have ever been to, still to this day.
Did you meet Hugh?
I did not get to meet Hugh. It was actually like one of the first parties that he didn't come down for because he was already by that time not feeling so well and, getting older. So I was actually super bummed that I never got to meet him.
Well, maybe you'll get to meet some great celebrities going forward. But that's a really crazy story too. And I mean, I've heard some incredible different types of stories at the mansion and all these
videos.
Parties.
I've only seen like clips of that party, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, man,
what a sight!
This legendary party. Like I don't blame you for saying that. I don't think you'll ever top that. I don't think anyone can top that.
No. I honestly don't think I'll ever go to a better party than that. It's honestly just magical. Like, it was the best. And of course now they don't do it anymore. But I mean, if I could go to just one more of those in my life, like, I would be set. Like, it was the best thing ever. That's
incredible. Well, Tahlia, thanks again so much for being a guest here on Weekendology Podcast. You can check us out at Twitter at Weekendology Pod. We're on YouTube, Spreaker. We're on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere you can think. We're also part of the Big Red World podcast network. You can check them out on Twitter at Big Red Social. Their website is bigredworld.org. Tahlia, thanks again so much. I wish you the best of luck in your career. You're welcome back anytime on the podcast. We have we have new episodes every Friday, so thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you guys next week.